And we're back. Greetings and salutations, nerds. You're listening to Praying for Superpowers,
a podcast about the deeper meanings, messages, and goblins hidden within board games.
He's your host, Peter Jordan.
And I'm Trevor Sheeran.
And today we're finishing up our episode on board games.
All right.
No order, but it's the top 10. But I'm not sure if we're up to 10 or past it.
We might have 12. These are board games we like. Here's why. Here's why they're not as great as we say that you might say they are.
This is part 2 of our board game episode. So go back and listen to it. The first part, and you'll see where we're at today. Let's just get going here.
So real quick, our sponsor is Petrie's Family Games, a local game store here in Colorado Springs. If you go back to our last video about board games, like it, comment on the video, subscribe to our channel, and then comment on this video, you will be entered to win a $25 gift card to Petrie's Family Games.
It's your turn, Peter.
All right. So I'm coming back at you with Dead of Winter. So Dead of Winter is a zombie survival game. I like to think it takes place in Minnesota.
I think that's really the only place that makes sense.
Right. Maybe North Dakota.
I could see that.
But yeah. I feel like there's such a small population of people there that they might have all just been turned into zombies.
Or no one. I mean, there's a lot of research on zombie outbreaks, and it all depends.
It depends, yeah. If it's... No, anyways.
We're going to get distracted.
And have to do it part 3.
We're already starting off on that.
So reasons I love Dead of Winter. Replayability, I'm going to give it a 7. The reason it has lots of replayability is because it is a story-driven game where it is cooperative. You play as a team against the game. And so the replayability comes from different objectives you have throughout the game. Sometimes you need to stockpile medicine. Sometimes you need to stockpile food. Sometimes you need to stockpile weapons or kill all the zombies. So there's lots of ways you can do it. And each objective has a difficulty. They have an easy and a hard difficulty setting. Not easy. They have a medium and a hard difficulty setting.
It's a zombie game.
It's a zombie game. It's hard. Then for story, 10. It has these crossroads cards where you get to draw a crossroad card at the beginning of each other player's turn, and it might affect the story. You might get a dog with machine guns on his back. You might have a pirate rob you. A ninja might save your life. There's a lot that happens on these crossroads cards.
And quick aside, this is one of those cards and one of those game mechanics that I always forget about.
Oh yeah, that went into my mechanics story, or my mechanics vote, is it's a 6. If without the crossroads cards, the story would have gone down by 1, but the mechanics would have gone up by 2.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Because the mechanics there's a lot happening. You have these little cardboard characters that you, kind of like Candyland style stand-up characters.
Yeah.
That you move from location to base to location again. You look for things like guns and books and food and gas and other survivors, medicine. And so it has a lot that goes to it, which is really fun. Then for complicated. It's like if it wasn't a co-op game and it had these mechanics, it would have a 1. But since you're on the same team as the other players, I give it a 4.
Okay.
It is there's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot of rules. There's dice rolling. There's character movement. You have to pay attention to so many different things as they happen.
Timing effects.
Yeah. So there's a ton that goes into it. But because you're on a team with everyone, it's okay the first time you play. It's not as bad as it sounds. That being said, there are these cards where everyone has a secret hidden objective, and sometimes your objective is to kill the other players. Oh, I don't play with those because I hate that.
I was going to say, I've never seen those.
Yeah, I always play with you. Almost threw them away, but I was like, well, if I ever sell it. I probably won't, but I'd like to just at least have them. Never play with them. And then unique aspect, it's, it's awesome. Like the crossroad cards are unique. And then in the book itself, you have like a story paragraph that starts the game. Like if your objective is to stockpile medicine, it's like, the snow's getting heavier, and the sickness is spreading through camp, and you have to do something soon. And it's like, ooh, there's a story to it. Yeah. So I'd say that's pretty unique.
Oh yeah.
And then it can play 3 or more people. It can play up to 5, and you can play as little as One.
Oh, again, solitaire board games are incredible. I love that.
I so don't like scary things. I don't know if I could play this game alone.
That's fair.
Like, this game gets my blood pumping when zombies start appearing. Like, it's actually moving slowly because it's a board game, but you're kind of like, oh, God, I'm so going to die. And then like, yep, I died. I rolled it.
It's over. Oh, done. Speaking of zombies,
all right.
The next game on my list is Resident Evil, the deck building game.
We're breaking our rules. It's a deck building game.
It's our rules. We can break them if we want to. Okay, here's how I break down this game. As far as replayability, if you have some expansions, it's crazy replayability because you choose the items that you start out with. Mm-hmm. Even with the base game, you've got a lot of replayability because there's so many moving parts that you can't play the same game multiple times. You can change out strategies. There's a lot of different strategies you can play with. Mm-hmm. I'd give it like a 7. I think it's a 7. For story, it's part of the Resident Evil world, which I love.
But it's not its own story.
It's not its own story. It steals from all the other ones. It's a real good nostalgia and geek nod, which I'm fine with. I have no problem with them pandering to me as a geek.
Pander away. Not you, Bethesda. You're bad at that.
Oh, gosh. No, stop it. As far as mechanics, it acts like a somewhat unique deck builder. It's not like Ascension. It's more like the Star Trek deck building game, if you've ever played that.
I feel like that's probably more obscure.
Yeah. Basically, you have like a grid that you can pull cards from.
And a stack of zombies that as you explore the house, you flip cards out.
Yeah. And so as far as so for story, I'd give it a 7 as well. For mechanics, I would give it a 7 as well, because that just feels like the right number.
I would ask you to lower it by 1, considering you shuffle all the zombies together, and the zombie on top can be the most powerful card in the game, and you can die right off.
And then you come back, but you come back with less health.
Yeah.
As your cap. And so I think they actually do that well.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, because you can die as many times as you want to, like in the Resident Evil games.
But it's just harder and harder.
You just come back. Because when you die in the video games, you come back with... you either go back to the restart, or you somehow mysteriously survive and all of the ammo you wasted on the villain is still gone.
Right.
And so I think it does a good job of handicapping you if you die a lot.
That's not bad, yeah.
I've had one situation where my wife was playing and her maximum hit points were 10. They had started off as 100. It was awesome. Anyway, so ease of play. I got to give this a lower score. I think it's like a 3. It's really hard to set up, especially if you have the expansions. There's just there's hundreds of cards that you can go through. And you got to figure out what you're going to set up with. You got to figure out the combinations. You have to have certain things and not other things. You got to choose
characters,
which villains you want to use. There's a lot to it. So maybe even a 2.
I think 3 is fine.
It's a hard game to set up. It takes a while.
2.
As far as cost, I don't know where it is nowadays. I'd probably have to put it at a 4. It's kind of expensive. It's hard to find. All of the expansions are really expensive.
Okay. Now, price on market now.
Yeah.
Not manager suggested.
Yeah. Because I don't know where it is now. I bought this a couple of years ago, and each one cost me about $40.
I bought one, and I traded it to you for one of your games.
Yeah.
I don't even remember.
It was Dice Masters that you got from me.
Oh.
I got the better end of that deal.
I don't play Dice Masters anymore, so there's that.
And then the unique aspect, I think, is just that it is part of the Resident Evil franchise, which I really like.
Mm-hmm.
I love that franchise. It does zombies well. It's a deck builder that's really fun. And it's a game my wife likes, which, that's a unique aspect.
That is a unique aspect, yeah. My wife does not play board games. She plays them with me and with groups of people.
Okay.
To make me feel loved. But we've played some Magic the Gathering lately, which has been really cool. I built really basic decks, and she'll play with me. We do it as a date.
That's so caring and loving of her.
It is. And
good job, Beth.
Yeah. And for those of you Magic nerds out there, she got mad at the game for how little mana she had drawn, which is a mark of pride to reach that. To know that you should be upset by the game when you don't actually care. It's a good sign. It's good stuff. Love you, babe. Also, my wife listens to every episode, so I feel super loved in that.
That is super loved. My wife enjoys listening to them when she can. She's sick right now. Normally she hangs out with us while we record.
I'm looking up Resident Evil deck building game on eBay because I'm really curious.
I am too. I'm going to let you continue that and go on to one that we can both talk about a little bit.
Yeah.
Blood Rage.
I'm gonna throw out we're gonna sponsor someone for free right now. Art Through Flame or Art by Flame on Etsy makes wood burned boxes for games, and their box for this game is like a briefcase that stands up all the minis, and when you open it, it's displayed beautifully. It's burned wood. It's so legit. They have boxes for so many different games. It's a local guy here in Colorado Springs, so check him out on Etsy.
I love Viking games. I just think they're awesome. My father and I are working on a game called Ogre's Viking Chess, which we hope to kickstart sometime in October, so keep an eye out for that. And there's a book called I think it's Norse Mythology.
North Mythology.
North Mythology.
North is somewhere up above us. Who knows? It's bewildering.
There was a man named North. I love it. I love being able to drink some mead and play a Viking board game, and just it's really fun to me. I love the Viking show. There's just something about it. I'm pretty sure I'm descendant from Vikings somewhere. It's got to happen. But here's the thing. Replayability, I would say I've played it probably 5 times now. Haven't gotten sick of it once. I'd give it a solid 8. Yeah. There's a lot of different strategies you can use.
There's 3 expansions as of now.
Yeah, and each expansion actually does something to the gameplay. Yeah. It doesn't change it so much that it's a different game, but changes it enough where it's like, oh yeah, that was definitely worth the $16 I paid. My brother-in-law, Trey Aker, who you've seen before, bought me the Gods of Asgard expansion. Thank you, Trey. You're awesome. And story-wise, it's a Viking game. And what you're doing is you're conquering the 9 realms and Yggdrasil. You're going to Valhalla. You're going through 3 ages of Ragnarok.
Yeah. It's a crazy cool game.
Oh, it's so cool.
Yeah. So talking about the story as well, the art.
Oh, yeah.
Bringing in the other cool part of it, it comes with these minis, like 3D printed D&D type minis, and they are awesome. They're unpainted. I painted a set for a friend, which was a blast, but they are super awesome. And so you don't have any like cardboard characters. Even your normal base soldiers are like these dudes with spears and like wolf heads.
Really well printed, really intricate, beautiful game, great board, amazing art. I mean, the cover art, if you're watching on YouTube, is so cool.
Yeah, look it up.
It's a Viking running through fire as Ragnarok destroys the realm he's in.
Yeah, by the looks of it, he's coming to decapitate you before you both die.
And a cool aspect, a mechanic in this, if you tie in a fight with another player, you both die.
Everyone dies.
There's no diplomacy with Vikings.
Which is great. I also love that when you die during Valhalla, you get glory.
Yeah.
They're like, it's okay to die during Valhalla. Glory in battle.
Yeah, to Ragnarok. You want to die.
You want to die and go to Valhalla. It's good.
It's so cool. So mechanic-wise, I don't know. I'd give it 7.
Yeah, I was thinking 7 too. Because there's definitely a learning curve.
Yeah.
The mechanics, the rule book's pretty well written.
It is. The wording is really well done.
Once you understand what you're doing, it's not too bad. A lot of games, I feel like you can play the game 10 times and then play it again, and you're like, what is happening? Bang. I don't want to talk about Bang. It makes me sad.
My wife won't play it with me. It's too aggressive.
I want Brandon Sanderson to make a Mistborn Bang.
Ooh.
And fix it.
Ooh.
Someone get on that.
Please. Everybody get on that.
Everyone do it till it happens. And then so for ease of play, you can't really play the first time and expect to do any better than last place.
You will lose, and not just by a little.
You will get 20 points and the winner will have 105.
It's just one of those games.
Yeah, that actually happened with one of our other guests you've seen, Chris Jordahl, my cousin.
It's a high strategy board game. There's very little randomness.
Yeah. Well, what's nice though is the random aspect that they throw in is hand building.
Yeah.
So you have you're handed a hand of cards. You pick one and you pass that hand of cards to the next player. So you build a hand of cards that you're sharing with a group, and so that changes it every time. So you can't just pick a strategy and go with it, because if someone else picks it, you're kind of out of luck.
Right. And which I really like.
Yeah.
Ease of play. It's a little bit hard to set up, but not nearly as hard as Dead of Winter. Not even close to as hard to set up as the Lord of the Rings game.
Right.
But not as easy as Love Letter. I think it's a good 5.
Yeah.
It's not crazy.
And we've already said its unique aspect.
Oh, so. Yeah. Cost, it's expensive. It's like a $65 game on sale most of the time.
On sale it's $65.
But it's made by Cool Minis or Not, who they make some really great games with incredible minis. And anytime you throw a miniature into a board game, it increases the price a lot.
Yeah.
Especially if it's the Steelheart game, which they kickstarted, where all the minis are made out of steel.
Yeah, so it's like a $250 game base price.
Ridiculous. I think it's $129 or something.
Oh, is it? Okay. Not as bad as I thought.
Yeah, I'm still not
But still not going to get that. Yeah, that's too much. One thing, so this game is currently on Kickstarter again. It's electronic version. So the computer version of this game is on Kickstarter, and if you get it, you get monster minis that add to this game at the same time. So if you're interested in this game, check it out on Kickstarter. Throw money towards a designer who's already given us something we love.
Oh, yeah.
You mentioned it a bit ago. I'm bringing it out. It's up here.
Yep.
There it is. The Lord of the Rings, the card game. Now, not to be confused with the Lord of the Rings trading card game or the Lord of the Rings, The Legend of the Five Rings.
Or the Lord of the Rings RPG.
Or the Lord of the Rings deck building game.
Or the Lord of the Rings PlayStation games.
Or the Lord of the Rings, the 3 different Lord of the Rings board games. It's not any of those. It's the card game by Fantasy Flight Games, who just printed Keyforge. Keyforge is Fantasy Flight. And then it's also
a legacy game?
A legacy game. No, it's not. I mean, it basically is a legacy game. So here's how it works. I mean, it's a legacy. It's built as a legacy game.
Well, you're going to have to explain what a legacy game is.
Legacy game is every time you play it, the story continues from where you were the last time you played it. So there's legacy risk, where you nuke a country playing the game, and you put a sticker on your board game that will never come off because that actually got nuked and it will never unhappen. Like they
have a pandemic version.
Yeah, pandemic legacy. And so this game is built as that or not. You don't have to play it.
It's optional. Kind of like One Deck Dungeon.
Exactly.
It's optional to progress in a story each play.
Yeah. I think we're already at 20 minutes. We're just going to finish out because we need to. So what I love about this game, Lord of the Rings, favorite movie series, favorite book series. So that's a 10 for me for story. Like, it's a 12 for me for story. Out of 10. 12 out of 10.
It's going to need it.
It's going to need it. Yeah, I know. So the art on this game is beautiful.
Yeah.
Which I think is part of the story. And so I can't get more points for that, but again, pretty awesome.
Go ahead and give it an 11. It needs it.
An 11 out of 10 for the story. Infinite replayability. Again, as soon as you know how to play, you know how to play. So it gets a 7 because it only has 3 campaigns in the base game that you can play through, but there's so many expansions that it does have infinite replayability as long as you have infinite money. We'll get into the cost in a bit because that is a hard part for me because I only own the base game.
Well, it kind of goes downhill from here.
It does go downhill from here. Ease of play, 1.
Well, mechanics.
A 3. A 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. You produce resources to spend those resources on cards, and you play those cards from your hand. Not bad, right? However, you can only play specific cards using other specific cards. The way that the game happens, it's like a 10-part round. And there's a first player who's not always, it doesn't always matter who the first player is, but it sometimes matters. So there's a lot of like, and the way fighting works, it's difficult.
It is. And remember when we were talking about Dead of Winter and the Crossroads cards and how that's always forgotten? I think probably 3 out of the 10 steps.
You forget.
Yeah, you just forget that.
You have to be with someone who's so used to playing. It's a difficult game to get into. So I guess that's both ease of play and mechanics. Both get a 3.
Yeah. Ease
of play gets a 2. You have to build your own deck. It doesn't come with pre-built decks. It tells you what the pre-built decks are, but you have to build them yourself. And it gets a 1. It gets a 1. The base game is only 2 players.
Yeah.
I had to drop $80 just to make it a 4-player game because you need 2 of the base game. Right? I got it on eBay, so it was cheaper, luckily. And then I had a guy at work just like, I bought this thinking it was its own game. Do you want it? And he gave me the expansion for it that awesome. I have, which was great. He was a nice guy. I didn't even know his name. He just saw me playing it. So I was solitaire. You could play it solitaire. So I was solitaire playing it on my lunch break one day. And he brought it for me the next day.
I love nerds.
Nerds are great. Cost $70 just for a 4-player game. That's a lot.
I think that's like a 4 or 5.
Yeah.
5.
But if you want to spend more money on it, you can. But man, is it expensive. I don't know if it's still in print. I haven't looked. But there's a lot of additional expansions. Like they literally came out with a full base size box set of cards every year for like 6 years.
Oh gosh.
And there's $60 a piece.
And don't let this dissuade you. It's a really fun game. It really is. There's a reason we're talking about it.
This is not a game to get if you're not a nerdy board gamer. Yeah. This is a difficult cooperative board game that takes commitment and time.
If you are, I'm going to explain Peter right now. If you're an individual who likes co-op games, is in love with Lord of the Rings, and really loves board games, you should buy this game.
There you go.
That's
reason enough.
Yeah. Did you ever find out how much Resident Evil is?
Resident Evil, the base game, I saw one on eBay that was $10.
Oh, dang.
But looking at, there was one that was all the expansions, it was $200.
Oh, geez.
But there's 5 expansions, so if you think they were all originally $40, that guy's just trying to get his money back.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe you've dropped in price and it's more reasonable now.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Mean, there was an original play mat that you lay out.
Yeah, how much is that?
$150.
Dang it! I really want one.
They're
Those
really
are cool.
Those are some games that we love that we have ranked. There's one more that we have to do. I know we've gone over our time, but 7 Wonders. The main reason we have to go over. Can you hand that to me?
Yeah. Oh gosh, it's so heavy.
It's so heavy. This has expansions in it, so it's a heavy box. The reason we have to talk about it is because it has 25 different awards from different companies saying how great it is. This game is amazing. It's my #1 favorite board game. Like, I know I've said that about other board games, and we'll continue to do that, but if I actually sit down and think about it, I could play 7 Wonders again and again and again and again and again and again and never get tired of it. You have a Wonder board, 7 Wonders of the Ancient World. I'm not going to list them because we don't have much time, but you have one of the Wonders, or if you have expansions, there's more in front of you, and you build through ages, right? The first age, and it's a deck passing game. So you have cards in your hand, you pick one, put it down, and pass the hand. And you do that in the first age, then you have war that happens, then you do it in the second age, war again, third age, war again. And you build science buildings and trade buildings, and you build monuments, and it's just a really cool card building game. And it's fun because you can play really, really spiky and not succeed at all, because there are cards that trip people up, especially in the expansions. And you can play this game totally on your own, pay zero attention to your neighbor's boards, have a good conversation, and then at the end you can still win just playing based off what's in your hand. So I think it's a great, what I like to call coffee table game, because it's like you're having coffee and talking, but you're also playing a game.
Yeah.
So it's fantastic. Definitely worth the cost. It's like $45. And also the online community around Seven Wonders is huge.
Huh.
My friend Peter Kiefer, he's a big board gamer. He printed basically 30 of his own Wonder boards that he found online. So he printed like Atlantis.
Ooh.
And the El Dorado.
Nice.
Like he has all these really cool, unique boards that other people have created and he just printed.
That's awesome.
So the community loves it. They've built their own expansions. It has a bunch of expansions.
That's way cool. We hope that this has inspired you to go out and play some board games. We also want to hear from you. If there was one single game that you wanted us to do a how to play of,
Ooh, yeah.
What game would it be? And don't forget, comment on this video, comment on the last video, the first part of this episode, and we will give one local winner, chosen at random, a $25 gift card to Petrie's Family Games.
Yeah. You have to be subscribed, and then we're mentioning this at the last part of the podcast on purpose. You actually have to go into Petrie's Family Games and sign a sheet saying you listen to our podcast, and that's why you're in the store. Now, you could be in the store for any reason.
Yeah.
Because if you're there a lot, that's great. This will give you the opportunity to just while you're in there, give it a sign, and we'll give out that that gift card in time after the episode airs.
Yeah, there will be more information below in the comments, and check out our social media as well for the contest rules. Thanks for joining us. We will catch you later.